Welcome back, pod people, to a brand new episode of Cinema d'Amore. I'm your host, Justin Morgan, and I'm here with
Chuck.
And we're continuing our movie podcast where we discuss movies. We are tying in last week's movie of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with this week's movie of Ex Machina. More or less, we're just discussing the movie, but we are doing a connectivity thing. So, and as like an added side thing, not the main part of the podcast, it's open for Chuck to try to figure out the connection. Which I think this one's kind of easy, but you know what? I thought that's what they've all been so far, and some have been pretty difficult. So before we get into it, do you want to straight up take a guess?
My first thought was this movie has maybe kind of noirish elements. It has like a femme fatale type character. Although there isn't necessarily one in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang though. Or I also didn't know unreliable information.
I'm thinking outside of the film itself, like more the creation side of the film.
Yeah. Does it have a similar producer?
It's not a producer.
I know it's not. It wouldn't be the director.
It does have something to do with the directors and the writers.
That they started out as writers and turned into directors?
That's it.
Okay. I didn't think about that until, I wasn't thinking about that at first.
I didn't try to make it complicated, but I was trying to think of another established writer that had written plenty of things, and then this is like their debut writing, directing movie.
Yeah.
And I actually had a couple people on the list. I don't necessarily know why I was drawn into this one this time. Other ones I had on here were I considered doing Lady Bird or Schenectady, New York. The list isn't huge. Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with.
Feels like the list is big enough of writers that turn to directors, but are they good movies worth talking about? That's where
the short list.
That's where maybe you run into
the short list I had. They were pretty good fucking like they were all good debuts. I think Schenectady, New York might be the one that I felt was maybe insane, like an insane fucking movie. Definitely enough to talk about, and I do want to revisit that movie, but it wasn't on my radar of things to revisit. But I was like, yeah, that would be a fucking wild movie to discuss because that's experimental and it's testing the audience. I think in that one, I'd find like first time directors like Get Out. We technically already did. Did we do that? Or might have been more so the last podcast we did. But like Jordan Peele, all that, comedic writing and stuff. But he was less of like an established Hollywood writer before.
Not a film writer.
Yeah. But I would have made it work if that's what I wanted to go with. But I wanted to go with something that was like kind of been a while since I watched it. And then I realized Ex Machina, well, I didn't realize. It was literally told to me. It was not an epiphany or anything. It was literally on Instagram like, hey, it's the 10-year anniversary of Ex Machina. And I was like, oh, shit, we're pretty close. That's wild. I didn't even think about that. The director, Alex Garland, I think he's more so in my mind because recently he's been attached to a lot of projects, maybe not necessarily that he's been heavily involved in, like he did Civil War last year, and there was that whole like this might be the last movie I direct because directing movies is pretty difficult. So maybe the writing directing is going away and he's just to become writer. But currently this year, 2025, he's involved with Warfare, following up Civil War with Warfare. It's not his movie he's directing. Maybe he's like helping direct. I don't know, because the trailer.
I think he's like a co-director.
Yeah, the trailer for it doesn't really sell the movie for me. I like the cast. I like that it's another real-time movie. But when it's like from the memory of a vet, like this doesn't sound that good. It's like right off the bat being like, it might not be accurate. It's from my memory. He's involved in 28 Years Later because he wrote 28 Days Later. And he might have done the second one. I don't know if he did the second one. I know Boyle kind of
I don't think he did
distanced himself.
The second one.
Yeah, I had somebody yesterday I said yesterday, but somebody within the last week at work being like, is the second movie even canon? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, they really don't have much to do with each other besides the rage disease. So
they're just in the same universe, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna be okay. I don't know. Maybe there's connecting characters. Apparently, Cillian Murphy is going to be in these new 28 Days Later trilogy one way or another. I'm assuming. Watch him not be the same character. They're like, you want to know what happened to him? He's in the movie. He's not the same character. Fuck you. You'll never know what happened to him. Danny Boyle, mic drop. Assuming. Yeah, getting into this one, I kind of think that this is a great debut film. It's kind of the first movie that I think I've seen Alicia Vikander in. Well, I'm trying to think. Oscar Isaac was pretty big-ish. I thought when this came out. Maybe I'm already confusing it. Maybe this was more so his debut too, because I'm thinking he's in everything now. What?
I don't think it's his debut, but I think it is probably. I mean, it's before Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, 2015 would have been Force Awakens, I think. So this would have been before that. So I mean, this may be like his biggest first thing.
Okay, okay, okay,
I don't
okay,
think it's
okay.
like
I
his
got it.
not his
I have
debut,
it.
but
I have it. His big movie is Inside Llewyn Davis, which came out the year before.
oh yeah, why weren't we thinking of that?
That is not where I know him from first. The first thing I've probably seen him in was Drive, Ryan Gosling's Drive. But he's not a huge role in that. He's like the abusive boyfriend. Maybe then he like kind of like fades away. But now he's pretty big because, like you said, he was in Star Wars. He's in Dune. He's in Spider-Man now, the Across the Spider-Verse. I do want to say X-Men, but he might have been the worst part of. He was in a very bad X-Men movie.
Let's say, yeah, maybe he might not have been the worst part of that movie, but it wasn't. It certainly still wasn't a good movie.
Yeah, so he was pretty fresh in this. Domhnall Gleeson was like starting to pop up in more and more things. He was in Harry Potter, I think, and
He was in Harry Potter
I
first.
think
Yeah,
by the time I watched this, I had already seen his Black Mirror episode, so I was a little bit more familiar with him. Obviously, a lot more familiar with his dad. He also ended up in Star Wars. I think,
they all
yeah,
end up in Star
they
Wars.
both ended up in The Force Awakens. So, except Alicia Vikander, because I think I feel like 1,000% of the time, I just see her dressed up in like, I don't want to say medieval, but like historic gowns. Like she's like anything that she's gonna be like a.
And she was Tomb Raider,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and that failed.
Yeah, Tomb Raider, not a great movie, great cast. She was great. Walton Goggins is great. Definitely like nailed that the Tomb Raider we had from the reboot series. Yeah, like the things that she pops up in Green Knight and stuff. Like yeah, it's all medieval stuff. I don't understand what that's about. But I don't think she was in Star Wars.
Not yet. She'll get there.
Yeah, eventually she'll be in Star Wars. I don't think she's continue.
It feels like Marvel and Star Wars are the same. Like everyone that sits there and is like, I'm not into those superhero movies, and then a few years later, oh, that guy's in those superhero movies.
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher his name, but like the guy, well, I'm not even gonna say his name. The cousin from the bear. Like I forgot that he
Yeah.
was in Andor. I'm doing my Andor season 1 rewatch, and I'll probably get in caught up maybe midway through season 2. And it's funny because it's like, yeah, he just had this small little role in the Star Wars universe, and now he's a big role in Marvel with his portrayal of the Thing, which the movie didn't come out yet, but. And yeah, so I see a lot of back and forth between Star Wars and Marvel once you're in that world.
Yeah, you can't get out.
No, you can't get out. Once you're in, you are in.
I mean, they'll kill your character and then literally bring you back as a completely different character, apparently, and just be like, "That's cool."
Hey, that's what the multiverse is for. It fixes everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Vikander's a good actress. She seems to do more like the highbrow stuff, I guess, minus a few things like Tomb Raider. But I feel like everybody wants to be like, I want to get ripped and do an action movie. And that's primarily the main cast. I did recognize the Kyoko as
Yeah.
the woman, like the owner of the brothel in House of the Dragon. And I don't like, it's not a huge like, oh, we watched this thing from 2014 and now this actor is huge. It did happen where I was like, oh shit, I know who that is. And then besides that person, there really isn't anybody else in this movie besides like I don't know, a helicopter pilot or something. Like you were literally, I don't think you see people in this.
No.
The helicopter pilot in the beginning and the end might even be the same fucking person. And I think maybe in the final shot,
Probably is.
not to spoil anything, but in the final shot, there might be like a background extra or something. But for the most part, oh no, you do see people in the very beginning because Domhnall Gleeson's character Caleb, you do see his like outside job where he works for this company that
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac owns called Blue Book. And did he win? Did he win like a competition or something? Is that the?
It's like the weirdest, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory style. Like, you won a contest, you get to go hang out with the CEO.
Yeah, that's very much what it was. Willy Wonka of like, you know what though? I feel like in the zeitgeist of things, it feels like something that probably would happen in companies now. Oh, you work for Amazon? Do you want to hear? Do you want to hang out with Jeff
You want to hang
Bezos?
out with Jeff
Yeah,
Bezos?
like I think
Yeah.
that's. I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a real
You
reward
work
for
at Tesla?
somebody.
They're running a contest to have a gaming session with Elon Musk today.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But you
Well,
can't
yeah,
win. You're like,
these sound like the rewards for can I get a raise, like a cost of living increase? Best I could do is like a weekend with the CEO.
yeah. And I think in this world, it seems like to me, it's like if Steve Jobs lived longer, like if Steve Jobs was in a more technology heavy future, because that's kind of what the vibe is I was picking up was like he supposedly is like we'll say was a great programmer, and now he's at the point where like he's just using people to his advantage to make his company better. And that's like, when you think about somebody like Steve Jobs, a lot of people idolized him and you praised him for Apple. And I mean, I would say he's what helped make Apple successful, but he's not the person that like, he's not the innovative person that programmed all this stuff. He just found the people and kind of exploited it to a bit. But maybe you wouldn't have that without him. So that's exactly who this Nathan character is. I mean, that's best I can compare him to.
Yeah.
Ex Machina is, I mean, I guess that title is probably also like a play on the Deus Ex Machina, which is God in the Machine, that Latin.
Yeah.
But this is just, I guess, would be the machine, or is it the god? I think Machina would have to be fucking machine. My Latin, I don't have any. It's not there. It doesn't exist. But like, yeah, the whole concept of this is, questioning AI manipulation, what it means to be human, which tends to be most sci-fi things.
They do love their androids.
They do.
It goes all the way back to Blade Runner. This movie connects to a lot of different films, but I guess Blade Runner is probably the one that it's most connected to in terms of the idea of the story. I mean, we even have Caleb at one point thinks he might be an android, like that he's just been controlled this entire time.
Yeah, he's been programmed that well.
But yeah, that's what you'd want to do. If you were going to program a guy that and then use him, you'd want to program him to be so, I don't know, I don't want to say dumb because he's not a dumb character, but that he would just believe whatever you tell him, that he would believe he's a human.
And I mean, that's kind of like what I think makes this story a lot more interesting than most sci-fi things, is that like that is one of the concepts that it plays around with, is like when it brings it up, is he like where he starts to think maybe he's the robot. They bring the audience into that. The audience is like, maybe he is a robot. So you're not really 100% sure where the story's headed with the questions that it's bringing up.
I mean, it seems like I wouldn't be surprised or this could have been like an idea that they use that I'm sure like the character Nathan, Oscar Isaac's character, probably would want to turn himself into an android so that he can live forever. Like, but would it really be him unless he programs it perfectly?
Yeah, that would be a whole different movie. I mean, we've had the opposite. We had Bicentennial Man. If I live forever, I would rather be a human.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that stuck with you after seeing this movie?
I mean, how he murdered the dance floor.
He does murder the dance.
It's still always my favorite line. I can't. I don't know why. It's like there's not like. I mean, it's not a comedy movie. There's not like a lot of funny moments, but that one moment just always gets me every time I've watched the movie like 3 times now, and every time it's like She says you're gonna murder her, and he's like, the only thing I'm gonna murder is this dance floor.
You are off a hair.
Yeah.
The line is something like, "I saw you tear up that picture," and he's like,
Oh yeah,
"No,
that was it. Yeah,
I'm gonna tear up this dance floor."
tear up this dance floor.
I think that is the most memorable part, because I don't say that he's very ominous. The whole thing with like, you have access to this room and not this room. You'll know where you can go depending on where your key card lets you go. And when we do meet Ava's character, Alicia Vikander's character, who's the AI android, and you get these moments of like, they're always being watched. Maybe they have these little moments where they're not being watched. That it's like he's this like maybe evil architect type. So when he just starts fucking dancing, like I don't know if it shows that he's like not as. He still seems kind of smart. He just maybe he's not in it for the scientifical, you know, advancement.
Yeah, I don't think he's in it for yeah to like help society or help humanity. I think that is like a long-term goal. It's not, again, it's not explicitly stated, but I think he wants to create the androids so that he can just program them all to live and be with him, because he obviously lives by himself. He doesn't interact with people outside of his house. So it's almost like he's just trying to build like his own society of people that'll live with him and do everything he wants.
Yeah, and I mean, when we get there, it gets a little creepier. He's like clearly using them to fuck, and it becomes like kind of like the slave aspect, or like they're not human. That always becomes like a huge thing. Like they don't have the same kind of rights as us. So like morally, can he get away with this? Morally, is it correct if it's not an actual person? I guess that's where it goes. But yeah, the questions like we kind of get into when we run into this android Ava is they very clearly right off the bat, the way that they design the character, she's like just a face and hands. I think feet. I can't remember. She's got feet, but she's very clearly like a see-through machine. Like we're not hiding the fact that she's a fucking machine. I think maybe that's the thing that's the most interesting about this is Caleb's character is told from Nathan that he's basically doing a Turing test, which he's trying to see like if he can be fooled by this machine. Will he believe that the machine is a person? I kind of like the cockiness of Nathan to right out the gate make her look very much like a machine. Like she's very clearly a machine. So it's like we're
Yeah.
showing you that she's an android. We're gonna see if we can convince you while your eyes are literally telling you what you see. And then yeah, we get into this idea of like, are her thoughts like simulated, or is she starting to really get like a consciousness? I guess that all falls into that Turing test thing where it's like, does she feel like this is a part of her program, or is she like off from that program? I don't know. I guess that's kind of where we start to fall into, I guess. Do you think her feelings are real, or do you think that she's manipulating him?
I mean, I think it's obvious by when we get to the end of the movie, kind of skipping to the end there, but she does kind of just abandon him and leave him behind. So I mean, I guess they are definitely not real for him. She's definitely using him.
I wonder too if there's like a point in the movie where it's not just straight up using him, but like she kind of realizes that because it's brought up many times in the movie that he's very much like Nathan. Even Nathan's like, yeah, you're following a lot of the same paths I am doing. We think the same. So I feel like maybe she thinks, if she does think, if it is a consciousness, that she thinks that he's very much the same type of human being and kind of just needs to be, I don't want to say ended. I don't know. Do you think you would have fallen for her if you were in that concept of like with the robot? I mean, they even bring up to the point where like he's like, did you go through my list of like pornography and try to like design her to be somebody I'm the most attracted to? Because I don't think she goes out of her. She doesn't like seduce him in the natural sense. Like there's nothing that's like flirty or anything. It's just when they bring up the attraction thing, she's not really doing anything to be like super attractive. It's just like, hey, when she has her whole like close your eyes and like basically covers up the fact that, well, most of what you can see that looks like an android, he already knows that she is one. But she doesn't do, it's not like, hey, this can be a thing if you want it to. Like there's nothing like that that's ever promised. It's more so like the manipulation is on a personal level. Like I'm scared. I don't want to be wiped out. Basically, he discovers that that is more or less what's going to happen. But I don't think he ever reveals anything to her that she doesn't already know by that point. Like before the movie starts, she already has all the information she needs. It's just kind of like
Yeah,
an escape plan.
yeah. I don't know. AI is weird. I know there's think there's been like reports in like real life of like people using AI that like I think it got to like a point where the thing was like you should kill yourself or something like that, and they're like, well, that's a little scary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't interact with AI too much. Like I don't use. I know a lot of people use like the Chat GPT and stuff, but I've never had like a use for it. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
It
I
seems
use it.
like,
I use it a lot.
but yeah.
But mine's usually like in my world, I'm constructing an email and I'll just be like, clean this up, make sure it doesn't sound stupid, or like make sure that it's clear, send it on. I've asked it for questions, so it's like it's good to like get. It's pretty good at trying to find a lot of information, but it has a lot of confidence in things that are wrong. Example, when we did the cable guy, I did use it to be like, hey, what is a movie where a character's named Little Bill? And it's like Jack Black in Cable Guy. And I was like, fuck yeah, Chuck, we're doing the Cable Guy. But then, like, he's not Little Bill. And it's like, you're absolutely correct. That was a mistake. He is not Little Bill. I'm like that's what AI does.
Yeah.
I think it's great to kind of get like a gist of like you could use it for fact checking. I guess you could use it like it is in this movie. You could kind of use it for like companionship and feel like you're talking to somebody. Like
I keep getting more and more ads for those on like TikTok and stuff like that. Of like, there's like 10 different things that are like, they're like, this is an AI, they all feel like they're just some sort of version of Google or Alexa or
mhm.
something like that, which aren't necessarily AI per se, but they're like, they're an assistant. But I've seen ones and they're kind of doing that where, again, to make it, I don't know, more palatable to people by like putting a face on it. There's one I've seen that's like,
That's literally what is
it's
happening in this movie too, by the way.
yeah, I mean it's what they're doing. Yeah, the one that I've seen pop up a lot lately is like I can't remember what the name of the app or the company is, but it's like an alien, and so that's like the thing. It pops up on your screen, and it's like you can talk to it, and like I watched like a demo, and they used it similarly to how you'd use any other AI. It was like the alien's name's Bob, and it's like Bob, how do you cook fish in a deep fryer or something? It's like I see recipes that say you can coat it in flour and then put it in and it'll cook it this way. Oh, how long should I cook it? Well, it says you could do this, but it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like trying to get the people that are like, oh, I'll never use AI. AI scares me when it's just like a blank computer screen. But it's like, oh, but if we put like a cartoon alien over it, you'll be more likely to use it because it has like a cute character on it that you'll be like, oh, I'll interact with that.
I mean, it can kill a lot of businesses. Like, say you are trying to watch your health, you just want to eat healthy, and you've used things like calorie counting apps. You could literally plug into an AI and say, "Hey, this is what I ate. What else should I eat?" And it'll be like so specific to be like, "We can give you amounts. Let's get some protein in you. Here's things that you could eat for protein." And like list things that are in your house, and we'll make it work, and it takes out a lot of like the thinking. And if you think of things like Weight Watchers, or I don't know if Jenny Craig's still a thing, but like like you're paying for these systems, these computer programs that'll put like a point value to what you're eating, and then sometimes it's like you got to go above and beyond trying to figure out like what is in your food that you are trying to calculate the calories for. And AI gets to the point where it's like, you literally could tell you to eat this, eat that. Let's eat this much every day. Are you working out? No, that's okay if you didn't work out today. Like it can be like that precise. So it doesn't necessarily have to be information like news and what's going on, which I mean, it also very much can be. You could use it as fact checking almost instantaneously. Like, hey, is there anything that contradicts this? Yes, and give you a bunch of lists. It's at that level. Or like you said with recipes, hey, I'm looking at a recipe for this. I just realized I don't have this one ingredient. Is there something I can substitute? And AI is just like, yeah, you're Bob the alien. Is just like, yeah, dude, if you want to use, you don't have sour cream, but you have Greek yogurt, we can switch that out. Like it has some sort of explanation and an answer. And, like I'm sure it will get better. I do feel like it probably, once you put them in the robots, it probably will be like a Skynet Terminator type thing.
It's just going to be Terminator, yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's gonna be like they wipe us out, but I do feel like there's probably a strong possibility that once they get to a certain point and we're busy like killing ourselves off by like, trying to make our atmosphere unlivable. Like maybe we die off and it is like just androids that or like AI. I think that's the biggest misconception is that, well, I don't say misconception. I would say like where sci-fi kind of got it wrong like decades ago is that it was like the robots are gonna take over. They always like make it sort of like it is they're actually gonna be like humanoid robots that start taking over and enslave us or something like that. And to a degree, I feel like that is what's happening. But like with AI, it's like people are seeing it as like a program that's like assisting them. If there is like a consciousness that it does eventually get, like we're at that level where like they can lie to us. I mean, if the program was powerful enough, why couldn't it shut down a bunch of government things?
Yeah.
Sorry to sorry to sidetrack there a little bit. At what part in this story, if you were Caleb, would you start doubting what Nathan was doing? Does that make sense? Like, where would you start to really start questioning what this character was up to when you've been invited, like you said, Willy Wonka into the chocolate factory, and like in that it's fairly quick where it's like I think that kid was murdered. Yep, moving on. Oh, isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
He got sucked up that pipe. Oh, that really sucks. All right, next thing. Where do you think the first big red flag is with Nathan's character? Like, if you're Caleb, where are you like, whoa?
I mean, personally, as soon as you meet the guy, he's definitely odd, but
It's the
I don't
isolation.
know.
It's the fact that you have to walk to his house. You're like, God damn it, I gotta walk.
Yeah.
Follow the
I mean,
river.
it's a
Don't fuck
weird
it up.
place. He has I guess, well, I think he tells him, Kyoko, I think he just tells him, like, doesn't understand English. I think he says that, but he doesn't. It's just like, oh, yeah, she won't understand what you're saying to her, so don't bother talking to her or something
Mhm.
like that, which is weird. And then, yeah, like you said, like, you're being told, okay, there's this android. We want to test it out. But, like, even really quickly with that, she tells him, like, how she's able to turn off the power when she turns off the power, it locks down the entire place. It's like, well, that seems like a scary setting to have on your house. So when the power goes out, if the doors lock, that seems a little frightening to be stuck in there. Like, hey, if the power goes out, the whole place is just gonna lock down and no one can leave.
I mean, and he has a good explanation for it too. He's like, somebody came in to like steal something and lock the power down.
Yeah,
Like he's like, what do you think is the first thing you would do if you were trying to steal from me and you found out, just killing the power is going to unlock everything, then that's the route that you would take.
yeah. Also, the fact that I don't know, the fact that your android can turn the power off is maybe a little. It seems like, oh, we're just testing her. She can control your entire power system. Well, we haven't worked that bug out, I guess.
Mhm.
He seems to not care that much that she does it.
No, and it has like that whole like lost vibe of like we got to put the numbers in and when they don't, like there's like some weird shit going on where it literally has that very simplistic like, oh, the red light's on, power's down. And it's like,
Yeah,
now we can have this conversation. And I think what's kind of cool about it is the whole time you feel like something's up. Like Caleb is being manipulated some way. And it's like, but who's manipulating him? Is it Nathan? Does Nathan have like what is he trying to gain out of Caleb? Or what can Ava gain from her manipulation with him? They're both seemingly using him for different reasons.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think that like Nathan's like I don't really feel like Nathan cares all that much about Caleb. So I feel like he's obviously trying to use Caleb to test Ava and not the other way that he presents it. Like I mean that's the vibe that I get. Like on one side like yeah, does this machine come off like as a person? Could you believe that this machine's a person? But on the other side I feel like it's a test for the machine that he made. Well, I guess that's kind of obvious, but like a test to be like, hey,
Yeah.
can you like what can you do with this person? I feel like, and then obviously it gets a little out of control.
Yeah. It was more than he planned.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I don't know. Yeah, I almost feel like if everything like was successful, it feels like he feels like the kind of guy that he'd probably kill Caleb and get rid of him at the end anyway. Like well, you can't
Hmm.
actually leave this place and go tell everyone my like what I'm doing here. especially if it's like because he's not. You got to think he probably wouldn't be ready to reveal this thing for years, even after he tests it or something like that. And even if you could say like, oh well, we had him sign an NDA or something like that, it's like yeah, but how do you guarantee he doesn't tell someone about it? Like
Yeah, they
I
do.
feel
They
like
do
that's
have
the
the
way this
NDA
movie would have
joke in
ended
there.
too if he'd have. Yeah, he'd have killed. He'd have probably killed him at the end because it's like you still can't take that chance that he wouldn't go off and like accidentally say something.
Or maybe like because the manipulation's so high in this movie, maybe he kind of does want that information to get out there. You know what I mean? Like maybe part of his plan is to have it leak a little bit for well, I mean, we don't really see a reason for that, but maybe that's a push that'll actually help things work out for his company and, maybe like boost their profitability. Maybe the stock
Mm.
market goes up or something with finding out that he's that far advanced. Like maybe there's more of a plan to it. But I guess yeah, I'm focusing more into like what is happening with Ava. She definitely like betrays Caleb. But do you think it's like survival? Which is kind of hinted at. Like that's kind of what she's saying is that, I gotta get out of here before I'm wiped clean, like essentially killed. Like she's gonna be killed in a different way. Like or do you think that she's like trying to be cruel to humanity? She basically leaves Caleb for dead. Like I don't see a scenario where that guy doesn't just straight up fucking starve to death and die. Like there's nothing
Yeah,
that's like, oh, the fail safe, it'll go off after whatever. It's literally like
yeah.
I escaped and you're in lockdown and yeah, you're gonna die there. That's how it feels to me.
I think it's yeah. I mean, she has to. Well, like I said, kind of the same thing with Nathan. It's like if she leaves him alive, then he could tell people that she's out there, and she just wants to escape and I don't know, be a part of humanity or something.
Or what if she's
I
if
guess is
she's
the thought.
or I'm guessing like if she stayed in there, stayed with Caleb, like instead of trying to escape to the real world, he would have probably became a lot like Nathan, where
Yeah,
you find out
yeah.
Nathan's like making variations of the robots as more like companions than anything
Or
innovative.
like thought about like trying to like perfect it or something like that. Like he'd be like, no, no, I think we do need to change you because this is a better version.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's like I was thinking too. I mean, you even have that scene too where like
And also, does maybe
yeah,
this is like another thing. Maybe how many times has Nathan already done this? Like, has he already brought other people in and then wiped her and like made an advanced version? Like, he obviously has all the parts for it. So, like, this might not even be the first time that he's brought someone in to test her. He might have tested her before and then wiped her memory, and now he's doing it again. But this is just the time where she finally got advanced enough to like end it.
well, that's even like what Kyoko. You probably have suspicion, but you find out that she's an android, and you find out that he's had
Yeah,
several models of androids, and his testing's been kind of cruel, whether he's intended it to be or not. But when Ava escapes, she's able to replace her body parts and cover her body up with realistic looking skin. I think that just kind of like suggests that like kind of what she would have been. She would either been there in those closets as parts. Definitely her
yeah.
consciousness would be gone. Kind of goes into the idea of like playing God or, you know, at the very least, what kind of accountability do people have on what they've done? How do you feel about like the very, very end for like the character of Ava when you see that she's more or less escaped into the real world? Into society or whatever. Do you think that she's like is it like triumphant to you like she's free or is it like scary that she's going to manipulate others, kind of like start to take over?
No, I think she just wants to be free.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how you'd take over, like, unless she can figure out, I don't know, is there any way to, like, mass produce versions of her? Because it seems like, obviously, Nathan had all that info, and I guess maybe she could have, like, downloaded it from his system before she left or something, but
I
I don't even know how it would be, how she would take over, because this isn't presented, like, as more of a Skynet where it's, like, an overall AI just takes over everything. It really is, like, it was just her and Kyoko were at the thing, so there's not like a bunch of them to do anything. Although I get, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she'll once she can't live forever. Like you think the parts would start falling apart at some point, and how do you find someone to replace those if he was the only one that had that technology?
I mean, I would also imagine, like, as technology gets better. I mean, this was written at a time where AI wasn't as advanced as it is now. Nathan has a line in the movie about being like it's a matter of like when it's gonna happen. Like we've always expected it to happen. Like there's some point. I feel like
Yeah.
at this point in the movie, it does feel like, oh yeah, she's free. She escaped her captors and stuff. But I think she's more than capable of starting to, take over like a tech company or something like that. Because her skill's manipulation. How hard would it be for her to fake her way into a company or fake her credentials? And she's already smart enough. I mean, it's not the simple of like she doesn't have the ability to straight up control all machines or something like that. But I
Yeah.
think she could very well weasel her way into a position with like a faked background or something like that, and enough knowledge and enough understanding to kind of like move things in a direction where, if she's an advocate for AI to have a life, then I feel that she could potentially start freeing other people. I don't necessarily think it's like an evil thing. It's just sort of like if you could save more people, if you could save more human beings, and it was in your power, you would maybe take that. But yeah, I mean, if they did a sequel or something, it could be more complicated. There could be like an AI that she doesn't agree with. You know what I mean? Like it could be like, they're also like me, but I potentially think that they're going to be bad for the future of AI or something. It's a thinking movie, for sure. Like, yeah, and I think that if you haven't seen it, this is if nobody's watched it, why did you listen to all this? But uh I mean, does this make you think differently? Possibly, but like you said, where like it's been years of things like Blade Runner and stuff like that. This probably isn't the movie to like totally rock your world. But, maybe if you're younger and you're not really watching much sci-fi stuff. And like you said, I mean, this is 10-year-old movie, and you, Chuck, you're comparing it to AI now and the level that AI is at now. And like it's not perfect, but it can manipulate people. Like we've already have the AI where there's scams, where the
Yeah.
AI technology can sound like a person. Like I'm sure for me and you is like we've already brought this up on our podcast. I don't know if it has anything to do with sci-fi episodes or whatever, but like we've said enough. There's enough audio recording of me and you that if they really wanted to, they could. There's probably some program that could just pull off sounding like me on a phone call.
Yeah.
And is it scary? Yeah.
Some scary shit.
I just think it's scary how much that it can do. Like, and I feel like the more horrific part of it is that it's like the arts. People are not using AI for the mundane jobs that they don't want to do. They're using it for like, creative things. It's like I feel like it should be the opposite way around. Like, you should get the AI to be like, I mean, it's always gonna be taking jobs away from somebody, but like it should be doing like the labor, the harder things for us to do and figure out. Not like, let's do some paintings for you guys. But yeah, I guess that pretty much sums up. I think we both enjoy the movie. You got really excited about the dancing. Felt like it was time to discuss. Would you have any questions for like Alex Garland? If you could ask him any question, what question would it be?
I got nothing
You have
there.
no question for him.
I got no.
Like there's a lot going on. I'm mulling over this movie. Okay, I am excited to see how you bounce off of this. What themes you?
Maybe I'll use AI to figure it out for me, and we'll test it again.
Actually, that would be kind of a cool connection.
We'll do AI round 2 and see if we can figure out a way to see if it works for me better than AI served you.
Yeah. If there's one thing I've learned about AI, if you're asking it questions, you basically have to be like, "Are you sure?" And it'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't accurate. You're right, that wasn't accurate." Could you imagine having that conversation with somebody at work, that disagrees with you? Hey, this is this, and you're like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Oh shit, no, you're right, Chuck. I was totally wrong. I was totally wrong about that." Anyways, Ex Machina, go see it. I don't know where it is, where it's streaming or anything, because I watched it on Blu-ray.
You had to pay for it everywhere. It's not streaming for
If you have to
for
pay
like
for
free
it,
on any
it's
services.
worth it. Pay for it. Support the arts.
Yeah.
Support the studios. All right. Goodbye. Thanks for listening. 2 more weeks till Chuck's mystery pick. We are Cinema d'Amore. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with news and information on upcoming episodes. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, Alexa, or iHeartRadio. It would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to our podcast on your platform of choice. We also appreciate feedback, so rate us, review us, and let us know what you think. And above all else, thank you for listening.